Right now, people, welcome back. It's been way too long. I miss you. This is it. It's all right. This is the one. This is the squad selector, and we're going to dive straight into it. So much to talk about, so many players to go through. Let me just make sure the stream is working. I think it is. So that is wonderful. First one in the new gaff. And I tell you what, this is hard. This is really, really hard to work through this squad and try and get it right. So we've been doing this a long time. For any of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe to the channel. Get involved. I do this on around October, and then we'll do it again probably in March, maybe even in May as well. And we'll go through the runners and riders. And it's kind of an amalgamation of if this squad was going today, who would make it in. And what's really great about it is that we've been doing it a really long time now. And as you can see, it's one where it changes all the time. So if I go through the years, we've got like September 2022. We've got before that as well, I think. It's for the Euros before that. October 2023, March, May. And this was the last one. And of course, I've just put together my squad. I literally made a change like a second ago. And yeah, I'll put a link at the end of this in the description for you guys to play along as well, so you can put together your squad. So 26-man squad. I've gone for a 26-man squad for the World Cup. So that kind of means something a little bit different today. So I'm going to be doing some wildcards. What I'm doing is I'm kind of putting together 2 people in each position, and then I've got 3 wildcards at the end, and I'm really struggling with the wildcards, and so I'm going to need your help. And as ever, I want you guys to give me an answer at the end of all of this in terms of one change that you would make in the comments. And the great thing about YouTube now as well, we can have like top fans. So whoever is the top fan, I will try my very best to remember, and I will give you a shout out at the end of all of this. Hit the like button for me, help this stream out, subscribe to the channel, and let's go through the tiers, shall we? So, and there will be tiers for many. So here's the tier, and you'll know if you've been here a while. But if you're here for the first time, come and get involved. Be new. It's good to be new. Get yourself comfy. So first we got, he'll go and he'll play. That's right. He'll go and he'll play. The next one is on the plane. Not sure if he's definitely going to start, but we'll be going. It looks like, right? Should be fine. Should make it onto the squad. But, it's kind of up for grabs, but should be just fine. Danger zone. They are struggling to get into the squad and no chance at all. And so, as I say, when we go through this, we'll talk about the sort of general situation with some of these players, because actually there's a lot of injuries in this squad, which I think will play a big factor in it. And I'll, of course, reveal my squad at the end of it all. Right, let's start off. Let's get a couple going. And then we'll move on with it. So let's start off with... I was going to start off with the new boy, but actually we probably shouldn't do it. Let's start with someone who's on my mind. Ben White. And of course, guys, get involved. Tell me where you would put these players as we work them up. Ben White, for me, is just is the perfect one to start with, because the fact that he's not in and around the squad, it's one when we do the squad selector, it's difficult not to get kind of your thinking muddied by the squad that Tuchel wants to put forward and the players that he kind of wants to bring, the profiles as well. And that has sort of just stepped into my thinking a little bit, because I think otherwise this is redundant, right? But Ben White not being in and around this, it's just, every time I see this, you just think, what a huge shame that this is going on, that Ben White is not part of this England squad, because the ability that he provides is, huge, and the ability to play as a right back or as a centre back as well. So I think there's no chance that he'll go. It feels like that. He's not been involved. It feels like Tuchel's kind of had a word with him and he's just not keen. And it looks like it's going to be no chance here. But we'll come back to that, because I'm not happy about that. I'll be honest. Let's go into some obvious ones. Or actually, here's a no chance for me. I think Ramsdale you're going to have to put in the danger zone. And there's a lot of players there that we're going to end up putting in the danger zone. But Ramsdale to kind of go to Newcastle, not be the main choice as of yet, I think is a bit of a problem. There's quite a few here that will be danger zone. I think Solanke's in the danger zone. I think Kyle Walker is an interesting one, because of course he was in that first squad, but I would put him in the danger zone right now. I don't think he's knocking around the squad right now. which is a weird one to kind of bring him in initially. And this is one of the talking points, I think, with this England squad. When you're thinking of what Tuchel wants, and it's not, Tuchel's obviously a smart man, so you don't want to kind of go away from that too much, but you've got to have your own opinion. There's such a talking point here when it comes to kind of experience within the camp, and Tuchel's kind of played this, banging this drum on, spirit and leadership and being able to understand it. And by the way, if you want even more jeopardy, sparkling water. That's right. I know, I'm nuts. Smash the like button. But Kyle Walker coming in, Dan Burn, Henderson, these older boys, depending on how you feel about it, you might be going, this is silly. This shouldn't be happening. Well, Kyle Walker was in and amongst it, and obviously has played games for him already. So I'm intrigued to know, be quick here with me on the chat. Do you think he should be anywhere near the plane, Kyle Walker? I think the bottom line for me with Kyle Walker is that he won't get near it because, I know this sounds awful, but because he's playing for Burnley. I think that will he won't be kind of in the spotlight enough, whereas there's other players on this list that will be able to get into the spotlight of the teams that get discussed all the time. What are you doing over there? Come back over here. Sorry, I'm still getting to grips with that. And I think it will cost him. But he's been there, he's done it, he's done pretty well. So it's not something to worry about too much. Angel Gomez, interesting one. I don't think he's got a chance. At all. And it's because of the situation in midfield. And the other thing that's really important here, if we go back to the last squad, before we were kind of there was going to be that double pivot, right, when it came to England. This next one, it feels like you will have pretty much a six there. Like, we've certainly seen that with Elliot Anderson. Maybe a different way of playing when it comes to fitting in Bellingham and Rice. If you're going to try and get those guys in, we can touch on those quickly in a second. Because I think what's crazy is there's so many 10s knocking about, both that have been in the squad but are currently out of the squad. The likes of Thogden, the likes of Palmer's not in the squad right now. Bellingham, if you want to call him a 10, is not in the squad right now. So it's difficult. And Angel Gomez, I just don't see him kind of being anywhere near this squad right now. And it's a bit of a shame because I think he did all right under Carsley, but I think with Wharton and Anderson in the games that he's played recently, they've been so good that they just have to be in the squad. Here's one of the first questions for you. If you're starting your first game of the World Cup, because I think these are easy ones, Anderson, absolutely on the plane. Wharton, for me, absolutely on the plane. But which one, if one, would you start? Or certainly, which one out of these two would you start ahead of each other? So you got Wharton and our boy Elliot Anderson, who I thought was sensational in the Serbia game. I thought he was so, so good. So, to not have... There's so many players. If you've got a midfield, you probably want to get 3 in there. You've got all these 10s that we're talking about. You've got Declan Rice that you're trying to get involved in here as well. And yeah, Solanke, I think, is in the danger zone for me personally. Wharton, not even close. A lot of people saying Wharton, not even close. I think there's been such a hype on Wharton. I've got to be honest. I think he has to be playing. Has to. But it's really harsh on Anderson because I think Anderson's been brilliant. But this is the thing. This is the embarrassment of riches that we've got here, and it's a good thing, right? That you're gonna have too many in pretty much every position. There's gonna be this big debate. But Wharton, for me, I think is so sensational and just so happy. Not to sit there at times, but also kind of just gallivant when he wants to. I think he's got to go. So, he'll go. And he'll play. If it was up to me. But it's not. Let me know what you think, guys. Jude Bellingham. No chance for me. I just don't see it happening. This is part of this midfield dilemma, right? Because it's one he'll go and he'll play. Or will he? It's Tuchel, if this group does so well, are they willing to leave him out? I don't see it personally, but with that comes, some of the problems, right? Let's take it to domestic football for a second. There's definitely been a problem with Liverpool trying to fit everyone in. And if that happens, that means that you have to get it back on track, you might have to make a really, really hard decision. But you have to play Bellingham. You have to play Bellingham. He's our best player. Full stop. He is world class. He will step up. He is clutch. He is just phenomenal. So they need to find a way for it to work. Now, they haven't gone like... I think the thing that's good here is that they've not gone to some new realm where, the team's just so good that you can't have him in there. But, again, that game against Serbia, I thought he was pretty good. I thought they were pretty good. So it's making it a harder decision, but Bellingham has to go and he has to play. As does Declan Rice. And so, as I say, it's getting a little bit congested now. Is that your three? That's the next question for you guys. Let's just keep having a chat along the way. Can we? Is that okay? Am I excited about this camera? A little bit. So I'm going to turn to it now and again. Will I do it too many times? I don't know. I don't know yet. But it's just a bit of fun, all right? So just relax. All right, sorry. Calm down. Declan Rice should be fine, shouldn't he? No, come on. Let's pump you up. Don't you know? Pump it up. Declan Rice, he'll go and he'll play. Absolutely amazing. Is that your two? Is that your midfield three for me? Yes, that's the three, says Stephen Wilkins. Interesting. Could anyone step in? Jordan Henderson, says Patrick Van Stoken. Not Stratton, Stoken. Where do you want to go next? I tell you what, whilst we're thinking about that, let's have a word from today's beloved sponsor. How do you feel about this? Free case of 10 spectacular beers by the boys and girls at Beer 52. My good friends at Beer 52 are giving you the exclusive offer of 10 never tasted before beers from some UK brewing legends. That's right, Northern Monk. Well, if you want that free case, simply go to www.beer52.com/James and just cover the £4.95 postage to get your beers now. Northern Monk's Patrons Project was set up to foster collaboration and creativity between artists, athletes and creatives across the north of England, launching innovative and exciting limited edition beers for its community to enjoy. And to celebrate 10 years of iconic initiative, Beer 52 has teamed up with Northern Monk to launch a series of brand new beers celebrating the very best collections from across the decade. Your free case will include Dimensions of Existence. That's right, that's a real name for a beer. It's a vibrant and heavy hopped double IPA because it packs a punch, 7.5%. From there, you've got two options. Take it down a notch. Go with a juicy IPA with a deep haze and a rich texture, or make it even more punchy. An Imperial Outstanding Stout that will knock your socks off at 8%. You get a couple of tasty snacks as well. I know, it's brilliant. And forget ball knowledge, it's about beer knowledge, which you can get with the great Ferment magazine. Now, even after all of that, if you're still somehow unsatisfied, you can simply pause or cancel anytime. www.beer52.com/James to claim your free case of 10 beers. Enjoy. Thank you so much, James, for that. Beer 52, links in the description. Get yourself a free case. Tuck in. Right, let's get back to it. Lots to get through. Smash your like button on your way through the door. Let's get rid of some, I don't want to say fodder. These are elite sportsmen. But some people that I just think maybe don't have a chance. This kills me because I love James Maddison and it's just heartbreaking what he's kind of having to go through. And there are a lot of injuries knocking about here. James Maddison, it feels like it's going to be a real stretch for him to make it in. So I'm going to put him in no chance. I kind of don't want to do this, but I think at best he's at the bottom of the danger zone is Rico. Good player, tidy player. There's probably players kind of ahead of him at the moment. I'm not sure he's truly impacting games in maybe the way he wants to. I think there might be a space in the way that Tuchel plays that would work for him. But it feels like a no chance with too many players ahead of him, if I'm honest. And I know I was digging him out in a previous video, and I don't mean to dig him out. I just feel like there's bigger names ahead of him. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think with the midfield being as stacked as it is, I don't see him anywhere near it. Personally, but obviously he's in the squad right now, so might go score a hat-trick and prove me wrong. Levi Colwill as well, looks like he's out for the whole season. Where will Foden play, says Mano. It's a good point. We'll get to Foden, because I think that is a massive talking point. Should we tuck into, who's injured right now? Let's have a look at the players that are injured right now, because I think that is part of it. Colwill's obviously out for the whole year, so that's a bit of a problem. Reece James. Now, obviously, we don't know how bad the injury is. But for him to get injured and go out, it's always going to be a bit of a concern. And I think with a tournament, it's going to be tight. Availability is a very important ability. But Reece James, I think, is on the plane. Like, will he start? I guess that's going to be down to like injuries permitting. If this one is just a little one, then hopefully he can get himself back, and it's just one of those little ones that you might get along the way when you're sort of getting yourself back to full fitness. But he has been playing. I think he's on the plane, and I'll be honest, I think if he's fit and available, Tuchel loves him. So I think he's on the plane. I think he's going to play. I think he's his starting right back right now. I think that's been quite conclusive. And actually, I think there's a few guys here that I think have to go and have to play. I think Gay is our best centre-back now. I think that's an easy one. I think he's been absolutely sensational. I actually think the centre-backs are quite easy to put forward. I think Branthwaite is a great centre-back, but I think Ezri Konsa is just fantastic every time I see him in an English shirt. And I just generally really, really rate him as a player. And John Stones is a funny one because I think that, again, like there's so many injury concerns with this England squad. So many injury concerns. But if he is fit, playing, available, and regularly playing, which is, again, is a difficulty here, right? You've got Man City, you've got Gvardiol, who, they've got another Man City left back who is getting in this England squad. So is Stones going to be starting games? I think this is a difficult one. And actually, it's interesting. If Stones is fit but not really playing, I think he's on the plane. He's so good, John Stones. But to drop Konsa or Gay for me is really, really difficult. So he's definitely on the plane. Is he going to start? Who knows? And then Dan Burn. I think Dan Burn, this is when we're talking about what Tuchel's talking about in terms of, keeping this group together, but also remembering this is international football. And he is a really good, steady centre-back. But to have someone of that size up and amongst it when you might need a goal could be incredibly useful. Would you be slightly concerned again, if he was exposed against the world's best? I mean, this is a guy who's able to play left back despite being however tall he is. So I don't think he's a risk really. So I'd like to put him in, and I think he'd be very useful. I think he kind of takes the Maguire mantle as the sort of big guy who can head. Could be really useful in the group stages, and you could maybe rotate all four of them really and not be too concerned about it because, I think maybe you need that little bit of size sometimes. Branthwaite, I think, is in the danger zone because of the consistency of the other guys, and I think Stones has got so much credibility in the bank, or credit in the bank, and I think that makes a difference. Livramento. So apparently it's not too bad. Apparently it's not as bad as they first feared. So I would love to see him on the plane. But I'm going to put him in should be fine because I think the injury concerns are there, and we'll get to that conversation maybe a bit later on because I think maybe we need to have the right back conversation because you got Reece James, you got Livramento, and we got to talk about him. What about Trent? So what are we doing with Trent here? Well, how is everyone feeling about Trent? I'm absolutely fascinated to know. Look, there's a lot of bad blood with him, and that's understandable, right? And we know that. But he is Trent. He's just not, it's not like he's turned into like an awful, awful footballer. But Tuchel hasn't really had him involved much yet, partly down to injuries. For me, especially with the way that they're playing, he has to go. Because if you think of what Reece James was doing in that Serbia game, and the Serbia game is my main reference here, because I think the Serbia game is one where, Senegal is a good one as well, but the Serbia game, it felt like that's where we clicked, and that's where we saw a bit of an identity of what we want to be. And the role that Reece James had, Trent would be amazing in that role. Like putting crosses in, tucking in a little bit when he needs to, those deeper crosses too. He would, with those runners that are coming in, and Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham and Morgan Rogers and whoever else is crashing into the box, Anthony Gordon there as well. You've got to take him. You've got to take him. I don't think he starts, but then it's one of those where he might end up starting because Reece James, can't keep himself fit. He has to go for me. I'm fascinated to know what everyone thinks. Should go, but doesn't start. A kind of game-changing quality is invaluable for a tournament. I agree. Tuchel also spoke about Trent defensively as a reason. Yeah. I think it's the same problem with Trent. He will be, when it comes to those big games, what will Tuchel do then? Southgate went conservative. He went careful. Is there a world where Trent starts? He's back in a Real Madrid team. He's playing. They're firing. All's well from that point of view. Do you put him ahead of a fit Reece James or a fit Livramento? Because I think that's the discussion with Livramento that we need to talk about. Is he going to be all right with his injuries? That's a concern. I think the same goes for Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall, it sounds like the hamstring is a bit of a concern here as well. And I want to put both of them in, but I'm struggling to because of some other options. I think Kwanzaa's in the danger zone for me. I think with those four, they're ahead of him. It's not no chance, but I think he probably needs maybe an injury for him to get in, a bit like it has been for him in the squad, in my opinion, because I think you do need that experience. I'm going to put Lewis Hall in danger zone as well, because of reasons I'll get onto in a second. Harry Kane, he'll go, and he'll bloody play. And I think that's important to know, because I am going to shock you a little bit later on, I think. Unless I change my mind. And I think how you get the best out of Harry Kane is crucial. But he'll go and he'll play. Goalkeepers, smash them out. Hendo on the plane, maybe even a little dalliance with an opportunity to start. But I think Pickford's still got the keys, isn't he? Pickford probably will go and he'll play, so it's put right at the front just so it looks a bit better there, doesn't it? Actually, we might even just set this up as an 11, shall we? Probably your right back, Gaze your centre back, Konza maybe your centre back as well, I think. He's not put a foot wrong as of yet. We've got midfield 3 there, and Kane's up top. Maguire. Is Maguire no chance or danger zone? I'm intrigued to know what you guys think. Would you put him in? Would you get him into the danger zone? I think he's probably worthy of a danger zone because of what he's done for England. Anthony Gordon. Does he go? Does he play? I think he goes and plays. It's him and Rashford, isn't it? On that left-hand side. And I think that's okay because I think Rashford does generally come alive for England. Gordon, there's no reason for him not to be involved. Which one of those two play? Because I think, look, with Rashford, he's doing well, obviously, with Barcelona as well. And we know he has talent. There is a discussion to be had there. Let's put him on the plane for now. We don't know who's going to bloody start. Trafford should be fine, shouldn't he? Obviously not going to be playing. And Ramsdale, I've got him in the danger zone. So I think that's your 4, isn't it? Those are your 4 goalkeepers right now, right? Gordon over Rashford right now, says Manu. Grealish on that left-hand side is not a bad shout. I think it's not a bad shout. Oh, you got me thinking there. There's nothing Gordon does better than Rashford, says Nicky James. Do we agree with that? Oh, God, that Grealish comment's done me. Joe Bellingham, no chance. I saw him in the Club World Cup. We're quite impressed by him. Thought he maybe had a chance. But today, as we do this in October, don't see it happening. Mason Mount. Can we talk about Mason Mount? I think amazing performance recently. I think generally when he has played for Man United, he's been impressive. It feels like he's, finding himself again. And Tuchel bloody loves him. I think the problem you've got with Mount is probably the players in front of him. It just being so congested. So congested. Which, yeah. Do you know someone? Let's do the left back position. I think this man here is really he's been really hard done by. Tyrek Mitchell has been absolutely sensational as an attacking wing back for Palace. That's essentially the kind of role that you end up playing for a dominant team if it were England. I think in this squad, I think he's been unfortunate. and maybe due to the versatility of someone like Jed Spence and Livramento, they can play left, they can play right, and they're very good on both sides, and that's kind of the reason for it. But so it's heard, I think Tyrone Mitchell's been really, really unlucky here. Really unlucky. I think the fact that he's not in this squad puts him in no chance when it comes to Tuchel. But not for me. All right. Kobbie Mainoo. I mean, at best in the danger zone. I don't think, when you're thinking of the midfielders that are knocking about here, I don't think he's anywhere near it right now. So I couldn't get him in there. Curtis Jones is an interesting one. I think, again, if everyone, if Wharton is fit and Anderson is fit, I do like Curtis Jones. I always say Curtis Davies. If I just said it there, just in case. I'm sorry if I did. The thing with Curtis Jones, he's so versatile. I think that gives him a real shot. I think Tuchel might be tempted. I think he's at the top of the danger zone list. You might want that kind of Mainoo, Curtis Jones kind of midfielder who's just a little bit of everything. Do you know what I mean? He's not 10, he's not an 8, he's not 6. We kind of is an 8, isn't he? But he's not like box to box 8. Does Tuchel want that energy to get beyond Kane? And again, where you've got Bellingham knocking about, that's going to make life difficult for him. Watkins, I think he'll be on the plane. And I think that's okay. Like, I think he's obviously, great goal the other day. I think, you don't need to worry about him too much. Ivan Toney came in and had a look at him. I think Watkins should be in front of him and is in front of him, and I think it's fair. Only thing is that will your style of play change a little bit more with Watkins as it would with Harry Kane? From Harry Kane to Toney would be a similar vibe, I guess, because I think Harry Kane's just going to keep dropping deep. Did a whole video on it on the MJA channel if you want to go check it out. But yeah, I think Watkins will go. I'd be surprised if anyone thinks he shouldn't. Wanyeri, I think there's too many ahead of him. I mean, even at Arsenal, I think there's too many ahead of him, as much as I like him. I think, look, Nico, hello, boy. I see you. If Lewis Hall and Livramento aren't knocking about and Nico's playing every single week, good friend of mine, so I call him just Nico, then he's actually got a good chance as a left-back. I think Jed Spence is going to hurt a lot of fullbacks' chances because I would say Jed Spence is on the plane because he can play on both sides. I mean, I guess it's one way, do you take him or Tino Livramento? That's the question. Is it a shootout between those two when it all comes to it, if you're trying to squeeze Trent in there? Interesting. Anyone here now? So Morgan Rogers. Oh, there you go. Saka's there, sorry. Saka, he goes, he plays. Right? Has to. Palmer has to go. That's his mental. Does he start? Obviously, again, another one who've either just come back from injury or struggling with injury. So many players in this. So many players here. So it's going to be interesting to see who lasts. Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer? He's got to play, hasn't he? But then we said, how are we getting everyone in? And I guess it's maybe he takes Morgan Rogers' spot. Right? But then there's not enough space for everyone. There's not enough space for everyone. He's got to play. I think, I get why you're screaming, Sam. I get it. And he has got to play, hasn't he? How are we making this work? Are you putting him on the right-hand side? How many got here? 1, 2, 3. We need a left back. Put Jed Spence in as a left back right now. Then you got 3 in midfield. 4, 3. I'm bad with numbers. Is that your 4-3-3? Do you have enough energy going in behind? Do you put Palmer on the left? Both of these generally play on the right, don't they? Do you play him instead of Bellingham? Is that how you do it? This is what I'm saying, people. Danger zone. Morgan Gibbs-White, I think there's too many ahead of him. I think when it comes to it, especially with the woes of Forest right now, it's a problem. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I think, kind of needs, without getting games with Arsenal as many as he'd like, It makes life harder for him. I think Tuchel kind of wants to take him, but could get pushed out. Probably is knocking around the danger zone, especially with all those guys that sort of can play on both sides, as we've said. And with Nico getting involved as well. Do you feel me? Conor Gallagher, danger zone, I would say. Not guaranteed to start at Atletico Madrid. So from the last time I looked, Madueke. See, Madueke. Okay, right. This is hard. You got Madueke. You got Grealish. Delap. Is Delap pushing Watkins? He's got to get back. He's got to get back in the team. He's got to start scoring goals, but he will have the spotlight on him. I think he's in the danger zone at best. Definitely not a no chance. If he comes in and starts scoring, then happy days. Jared Bowen. I want to say should be fine, but I think, again, due to the reasons that we've spoken about here, when you've got Madueke maybe in front of you when it comes to Tuchel, if, in terms of my squad, do I put Bowen ahead of Madueke? I am one who I like to have that flexibility of players that can go over both sides. The good thing with Bowen is that Bowen can play through the middle. And the Grealish-Madueke discussion is a really interesting one as well. Because, where have I put Grealish? There he is. With Grealish is a very different kind of winger. I'm not an Arsenal fan. You can tell. And he's going to win you fouls, the Grealish thing. It's very difficult. Grealish is on fire today. And do you know what's great? He's getting the reps. He's getting on the ball. He's affecting games. And I think in a low block, the directness of all three of those is brilliant. Madueke, Bowen, and Grealish, kind of in different ways. Bowen, kind of just a bit more pace, sort of like scuttles around. That sounds like a dig. It's not. I like his he changes the tempo. Madueke's so direct, can play on both sides as well. And that's it. Nan says, I think about World Cup football, it's largely teams sitting back against England in the low block. You need players who can break that down. In the Premier League, some of these players are great because they have space. I think it's that. So you've got two options when it comes to that. You've got the in transition. Can you go? There's those moments. But then, yes, absolutely. You've got to be able to break down that block. It's so hard in those wide areas. Oh, I'm in trouble here. Henderson, I think Tuchel might take him. Or it's either that or it's like, has he had a conversation where he's like, do you know what? Can you just help foster something here? Because the thing is, who's your 26? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get to 23 names, I think. Because I'm going to do 3 goalies and then 2 in each position. And that leaves wildcards. So who are those wildcards going to be? So this is where, and again, look, we're chucking Eze in here now. Where does everyone put Eze in? Because you could say, Eze is flying. You should get him in the team. Palmer's not fit right now. So if we're being really brutal, about the World Cup being played tomorrow, Eze is knocking around it. You could chuck him on the plane because, again, he's an amazing player. But you've got all those players ahead of him, so you could suggest he should be fine. I think with Harry Kane absolutely playing and starting, I am slightly concerned about Eze because I think for what I see that they want with Harry Kane dropping deep, you need people that can run in behind. Eze generally isn't that guy. And I love Eze. I love Eze. I don't want to be saying this right now. But it's a problem. It is a problem if we're being honest. Because he's kind of going to get in his way, I think, a little bit. But again, there's so many players there. And then Foden. This is what I mean. Look how many kind of exciting 10s. Let's take Bowen out because he's an out-and-out winger. Grealish could kind of bring him out as well if you want to. But hybrid forwards, let's call them that. Gordon, do you want to make him more of a striker? I don't know. Rashford, you chuck him in there. Gordon. There's so many guys here. And again, at the same time, you've got to get Bellingham in the team, it feels like. You got to get Rice in the team, it feels like. You got to get Saka in the team, it feels like. It's absolutely incredible. So, I might even change this squad in a second. Foden can't start. No. I think he's in the danger zone, right? He's definitely not got no chance. If he is firing, then you want to get him in and around it, don't you? But this means someone has to this means one of the best players you've got gets taken off. So let's go to my squad. So this was the squad in 2024. And do you know what? Whilst we've been discussing, because I'm always listening to you guys, and thank you for being here, by the way. Like, still, I love that we get to keep doing this. So thank you so much. This is the squad I had. I might change it in a sec. So, I know there's too many names there. Relax. So I think my goalkeepers are set. My centre-backs feel pretty set. With the way that Tuchel's kind of playing, and I do have to take that into consideration, right? Because I can't do a whole tactical video with you. Lewis Skelly and Spence, because Spence can play on both sides. Lewis Skelly, if you need a midfield, I was just thinking that now. But Lewis Skelly, I think, just because Lewis Hall has not been fit regularly, I think he's in today. But if Nico, this is what will be interesting in March. Will he still be there? How's his next few months going to go? And the other thing that I realised as we were talking about is I thought, because I'm concerned about Livramento and that injury, but I have just read that it's not as bad as was first thought. So I would, when it comes to the wild cards, these are the 6 wild cards I would have knocking about. Okay? And Livramento is absolutely one of those wild cards because I want Livramento in the squad. But because he's just done his knee and I don't know what the situation is there, then yeah, I don't really know what to do. But if he comes back and he's fit and we're doing this in March, Livramento, I would be amazed. He's in my squad because you can play him on both sides. I've got to have Trent in there because, again, with the dominance that they'll have in a lot of games, I think he could just be so useful, and he's bloody brilliant. You've got Konsa, you can go over to that right-hand side if he needs to, shift across in terms of your 2 centre-backs. You can play Gay on that right-hand side too as well if you need to. Stones obviously can deal with certain amounts as well. Wharton and Anderson in my DMs. And what's interesting, right, if we go back to the last one to this one, is that change. That feels like we've got to have an out-and-out 6 here. Rice and Bellingham have to be in there. I've gone for Palmer and Rodgers. Rodgers, I think, just brings something so different. Like in terms of being able to like drive and glide, but also get beyond. And I think it's one that, because he doesn't play for Arsenal or, whoever, Chelsea, whatever, maybe people aren't going to talk about him enough. But watch him in those England games. I think he's really, really effective. And I think he could play on the left, he could play on the right if you needed him to. You probably won't. Oliver Sharp says, Grealish is skillful and fun to watch. You want him at the World Cup, causes you to get you off your seat. For me, he plays. For me, he goes over Mad or Rashford. Mad. Who's Mad? Madueke. Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I think Grealish is worth chucking in here in terms of like a nominee as a wild card. Because I think it's a really, really good point. There's a great story with him this season as well. So he's going to be in like great confidence and he can win you games on his own. So I'm going to highlight him because I think he's got to go in. Let's give him yellow. I put Madueke in for the ability to play on both sides. I'm not sure you need that when you've got so many players that can go over to that left-hand side. I really wanted Bowen in there. This kills me. I'm struggling to put Eze in there as a wildcard. So basically, I can put in 3 wildcards here. Livramento's taken 1 spot. Honestly, just for that defensive cover, centre-back, if you needed it, and another right-back, but again, maybe you don't need to do it. Ben White is not a bad shout as a wildcard. He's really, really not. You can't see the wildcards. I'm so sorry. So sorry I've been chatting there. Let's get rid of the goalies. You don't need the goalies, do you? So these are the wildcards I've got. Livramento, Eze, Hendo. Now, because the Hendo thing, and I know you're screaming, is that those last 3, are they actually going to play? And if they are going to play, why would they play? So I think for contingency, the smart thing to probably do, if you could do it, is Ben White and Livramento, because you've now got a lot covered. But again, you've got a right back sorted out there, and then you could maybe leave Livramento. You could leave Livramento. Depends if he's fit. And is it about scoring goals? Bowen, I kind of wanted to put in there. Ben White doesn't really want to be there, does he? So I'm tempted to do that. And then Bowen. I really want Bowen in there. I think Bowen's different to these other forward players. And he's such a great finisher for me. I think that's important. As opposed to some other people on this list who maybe feel more and more out-and-out wingers. I really want Bowen in there. If Foden is firing, it's very difficult to not put him in there. Isn't it? Like, you know, after all said and done, he's obviously like, we know he's a really talented guy. But today, if you're asking me who to put in, I don't see a big enough difference between... I mean, Palmer's literally injured right now. So if you were doing it tomorrow, I'd put Eze in front of Palmer because he's not fit, right? So we understand that. And James, obviously, he would come out. So a lot of this is hypothetical, right? But we're just talking about if everyone was knocking about in the next 2 weeks. I think Grealish is a game changer, as is Eze. And, you know, everyone knows how much I've spoken about Eze and how much I back him. I just don't see him. I don't see them giving him the ball like they should do. And I think he would get lost in there a little bit. Whereas at Arsenal, you've got Gyökeres wanting to run those channels, wanting to find someone, wanting to give him the ball. They want that central access. He's exactly that kind of guy. And so that's why he's thriving at Arsenal for me. Yeah, and we all do. And why I've picked them to win the league this year. But I think my three would be those three then. And actually, if we're doing like you're injured, I put Ben White in right now. And the Hendo thing, I think it's one where someone said before, like if you're going to take him, put him in as staff. Foden any day over Rodgers and Eze even on form. What? But Foden is missing chances. He's not there yet. He's not back yet. Bowen over Foden is crazy. I get that, but we don't need... How many 10s do we need? How many 10s do we need? It's my team. In my team, I'd like Bowen out there to have someone who's really direct. Saka's going to cut inside a lot of the time. Both of them are going to drive like wingers. Bowen is far more goal first. Can I score a goal? And I like that. That's my squad. Who was the top fan? Let's have a look. Oliver Sharp was the top fan. Congratulations. Patrick Van Stoken was second. Wall Lion was second. Wolf Effects is there. Oz Talks Football as well. Thank you guys for joining me. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share this video if you want to get involved with your mates. And if you want me to do more, then hit the like button and I can see that that's what you want me to do. So that's my squad. Lots of love.